So just to give you a quick overview of today, we have a few slides, a very special video that will give you a better introduction of the programs that the programs team run for GELF. And we also have some fun giveaways at the end. We'll also have time for questions at the end, hopefully, as well. So please don't hesitate to interject if you have anything you'd like to ask.
Okay, everybody comes to any kind of session with previous knowledge. We want to make sure that we cover any burning questions that you have. Does anybody have any questions now that you want us to make sure we cover as we talk? We're going to jot them down to make sure we do. Any questions now? Not yet. Okay. Then we'll cover what we cover, and if you have questions, just pop in and ask. Oh, okay, because not the book. Okay, we've cut some stuff out because of our time crunch. So, okay, we really appreciate everybody in here and you being champions. What's really fantastic about the work that we do is we get to work with all 95 counties. And I tell people it's done 95 different ways. And that makes our jobs really fun every day. But thank you for being champions of this work. And many of you that have been around longer than any of us may realize that there's some new and fresh things with Governor's Early Literacy Foundation. We're going through a brand refresh, so you'll kind of see some new graphics and new logos for things. But many of you know we started as Governor's Books from Birth in 2004. And that was to support Dolly Parton's Imagination Library statewide. That's why the foundation was formed. And across all 95 counties, we were the first statewide program for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. That's exciting. And as you can see, different programs were added along the way, and we're going to touch on each of these. So right now, if you have questions about any particular program, don't worry, we're going to cover it and go all the way to today. Okay? And this is, hopefully this is going to be new for most of you. Last year was our 20th anniversary. And we used this video at our 20th anniversary celebration, and it's really fantastic and wanted to share it with you all. It gives an overview of our programs really better than we can because it has recipients who are talking about getting the books and using the programs. So we're going to let you guys watch this.
When I get a new book from the mail, I get really excited and I really want to scream, wow, thank you, and I zip into my room and start reading.
It made me feel so grown up because like my parents are getting all this mail and now I'm finally getting mail.
And just when I got them in the mail, I could just not put it down.
But when she got her book, you know, we made a big deal out of it. You know, I would do a little drum roll on the mailbox.
When we go to the mailbox and there's a book in there for Avery Grace, and I'd go back in the house where LaToya would and we'd say, Avery, you've got mail. And she'd say, ooh.
When she got that book, she would squeal, she would jump, she would rip that plastic paper off of it.
Yeah, I would just scream because I would be so excited. I would literally jump for joy. The memories are something I will forever cherish.
I think more than anything, I wish we could go back.
Yeah.
To getting those books in the mail.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Governor's Early Literacy Foundation's mission is to strengthen early literacy in Tennessee. And all of our statewide programs and community initiatives are really about meeting families where they are. Our Birth to Five program is Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which is a book a month for every child from birth to 5. At no cost to families. K-3 Home Library is a continuation of our Birth to 5 program, which is providing children every summer with 6 fiction and nonfiction books to enhance and continue their love of reading.
We're seeing scores that go higher and higher at Alamo City School. I think it's because our parents and our children are reading.
10 Under 10 is a scholarship program that recognizes 10 extraordinary third graders that have overcome reading challenges. Caregiver engagement is really recognizing that our families are a child's first teacher. And so it's providing them with resources that they need to really help their children in their education and literacy journey.
The time in which you read together, you learn how to converse, you learn how to raise questions, you learn how to imagine, you learn how to think. And that has brought us together because we know each other so much better than we would if we were all in front of a television just taking in things.
Storybook trails are really providing outdoor reading experiences for families. It's a way to encourage them to be outside and engage with literacy in a fun way.
I started a storybook trail here in Nashville, and we thought it would be cool to do a storybook trail in somewhere that I grew up and just to give back to someone and to something that's just given to me.
The Governor's Early Literacy Foundation was the start to give Kendall the confidence that this project was something that was worth doing.
BookBus is really creating mobile libraries across our state in various forms that meet a community's needs and enhance literacy. OwlFest is Opportunities with Literacy, and it is a curated book shopping experience for some of our highest need schools to provide children with additional books for their home library. Select is our statewide early literacy education collaborative of Tennessee, and it's an opportunity for every organization around early literacy to come together and have conversations, dialogue, and collaborative work so that we're rowing together in the same direction.
So let's go back to the beginning. In 2004, then Governor Bredesen began to realize that not a lot was being done for birth to 5 to ready children. At the same time, Dolly Parton in East Tennessee had begun giving books to every child in her county. And so together, they began to concoct a program where we would provide her imagination library, books each month sent to a child from birth to age 5, for every child across Tennessee.
The whole idea was to do something that would attach kids to books and have them associate that with something which was fun and interesting and they really liked to do.
3 different governors, 3 different administrations, 2 different political parties, all supporting literacy.
During our time in office, I think the thing that we focused on the most was advancing education in our state. And early literacy is such a key piece of that. To me, it just fit in perfectly with everything else we were trying to do in the state.
You know, early literacy is something that folks talk a lot about as being important, and sometimes we lose what it really means, but what it really means is just giving a kid a start that will change their life forever.
It really starts from age 0, in my opinion, exposing kids to reading and building that sort of love and passion for stories.
It introduces different interests to them. It introduces new words to them, and they have a chance to see what's going on around them.
I can show you the benefits. I mean, my son is in the 4th grade and he's reading on an 8th grade level.
My girls are being a better student every single day because, you know, the way they read, reading helps them a lot. Helps them with their knowledge, their speech, vocabulary.
Reading has helped me want to learn. It has helped me with math, science, English, and history.
Anybody who's received those books started off on the right foot. Anybody that began reading with their family or even by themselves at that young of an age is immediately set up to do good things.
That first group of children who received those books in 2004, some of them are now in our workforce. Some of them are pursuing higher education.
I would not be an English major. I would not read or write as much as I do without that firm foundation.
What I am most proud of is seeing the impact that we're having on the hundreds of thousands of children across our state.
While visiting one of the schools in West Tennessee for our OwlFest initiative, one little girl and some of her friends came to the table to check out. They had all chosen the very same books. They were so excited, big smiles on their faces. They had decided to form a book club. That's when you know you're making a difference.
I had a young boy named Jace come up, little 2nd grader, handed him his books, and he walked away. I'm helping the next child, and as I look to my right, he's standing there, he reaches over, he gives me a hug, and he says, "Thank you for the books." And I said, "Well, you're very welcome." And he said, "These are the only books I have in my home." And I realized in that moment our foundation has a gift in that we are truly serving every child in our state, particularly children that need it most.
The Governor's Early Literacy Foundation is vital to our communities.
It was the very first step that I looked and I was like, I'm doing something great for my child.
This program is phenomenal.
We've had the privilege of mailing over 56 million books from birth to third grade over the last 20 years.
We have not shied away from a challenge, and we have dreamed big.
You know, our foundation owes a great debt of gratitude to our team, our board of directors, the state of Tennessee, all of our stakeholders and partners that help make this happen, as well as the children and families that we get the privilege to serve. My vision for the future of Governor's Early Literacy Foundation is that we are looking for new and innovative ways to create a culture and a love of reading.
How do we support our families, and how do we provide our children with the best start possible?
Reading is a powerful form of magic that it really becomes a key that unlocks many doors. If a child learns to read, they can achieve anything that they want in life.
I just like when I read, I get smarter and smarter every second.
It's really nice to, when I do have the time at home, to be able to sit and relax and read something that can kind of take away from the stress and the seriousness of being a teenager.
I like to read because you can imagine it in your head, and I think that's pretty cool.
You just use your imagination, and it's just amazing how it can just take you to a whole nother world, and that's why I love reading.
Happy birthday, Gov.
Did anybody get chills? Yeah, so that's why we do what we do. And what's really cool is while this video is a year old, those numbers are already outdated, right? Because we've sent so many books since then. All right, so now we're going to dig deeper into each of those things just a little bit.
Okay, so our programs team covers, I guess, what we want to call 3 buckets of different programs throughout all 95 counties statewide. And these 3 different buckets is we have our home library that covers birth to third grade. Then we have the community through literacy, so there's different programs that are out in the community. And then select, which is where we all are. So we're going to cover the home library section of this for you all.
Okay, so Birth to 5 is essentially Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. And a couple of fun stats there. We typically serve around 70% of eligible children statewide. Some counties might be at 89% and some might be at 60%, but we say around 70% statewide. That's really fantastic. Other programs across the nation that are statewide aren't there yet. Sometimes we might see that there are higher numbers, but not percentage-wise with total eligible population. This starts, hopefully, at birth so that children can get a full 60 books. The last one comes on the 5th birthday, around the month of the 5th birthday, so full 60 books. And all 60 books in Tennessee can be received in a bilingual format. That's still fairly new for us. That's about a year old in Tennessee. And Penguin has done a great job working with Dolly Parton's Imagination Library to get all of those books in a bilingual format. Everybody in here, I see lots of familiar faces, but I've learned to make no assumptions about what people know or don't know. Everybody in here has a local program partner for your county's Imagination Library. If you work with your local program partner, raise your hand. Yay. Okay.
If you are your local program.
Yeah, they are. The Hamilton is the local program partner here. So if you are unsure of who your local program partner is, we can let you know if you would like to be connected with them. Sometimes it is somebody associated with a Rotary. Sometimes it's associated with a United Way. Sometimes they're their own organization. So we can't give you a blanket answer. Again, 95 counties, 95 different ways to do this. And also, we make no assumptions that people know how this is funded. GELF pays 50% through state appropriations of the cost of each county's book bill. And then the other 50% is paid for by the local program partner. Sometimes that means being out in the community doing a fundraiser with a yard sale or a bake sale. Sometimes it's writing grants. Sometimes it is funds from the county government, city government, school board, funded many different ways. But most of our counties do have to fundraise. I won't say all. There are a few lucky ones that don't have to fundraise. They might be built into a county's budget and it's just there, hopefully, as long as it's going to be there. But that's the way it works. We definitely couldn't do it without Dollywood Foundation because they do work with Penguin to get the books at a very low cost. And then they take care of all of the back end with mailing and the database. It's about $2.60 per child per month. Half of that being paid for by the foundation and half by the local program partner. Okay, those are the highlights.
Any questions about Imagination Library?
So you can spread the word. Dolly, unfortunately, does not pay for the books, although she does ship them to each child's home.
Now, next we're going to talk about K-3 home library, and through this program we have served more than 228,000 students. And what this is a pack of books, 6 total books, is mailed out every summer to rising first through rising 3rd grade students. This packet of books is meant to help with the summer slide, so to speak, so we can keep learning and keep reading throughout the summer. The books come along with what we call a think sheet. So there are questions for the child and the caregiver to engage with over the book throughout the summer. How do we get to these 6 books? How are these 6 books selected? So the process starts. The process actually has started, probably last month or so, and really started just this week for next summer. So it is a long process to get these 6 books going. But thanks to our partnership with Scholastic, they start out, they send a book universe out. We have what we call an educator advisory committee, and some of these members are here with us this week at Select. And these are educators across the state. They come from East Tennessee, West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, rural areas, urban areas. And these are teachers that volunteer their time to come together. They meet virtually most of the time, but they do come together to meet and select books. So they have a book universe that they go through and they select age-appropriate books that go along with the curriculum that's being taught. So these children will also be getting some reinforcement with what they are going to be learning. They will have books in their home that will go along with the curriculum that's going to be taught that next year. These books, while they will get 6 books every summer, that's another 18 books that is added to their home library that hopefully started with Imagination Library, where they received 60 books, and then they will get another 18 books to add to that. We work with the local school systems. This is not a school-by-school program. This is a district, thank you, district by district. And so happy to say that there are only there are 6 districts that do not participate, but that is out of all of them across the state. So out of 147. So that is pretty amazing. And some of them are small districts, so it may just be one elementary school in that district. So it's really, we are reaching the vast, vast majority of children with this program. The parents, if they don't wish to choose the books, they opt out of the books. So that's the process of getting these books, but they are high quality. They are absolutely chosen to be very specific and to meet these children's needs where they are. So any questions about that? All right. Yeah, we could not do it without Scholastic. Absolutely. Felicia's sitting there. But yes, we could not do it without Scholastic. And the books are mailed out to the students the end of May, beginning of June, so they have that. Along with that, we do send the packs to the teachers in May, teachers and librarians. Librarians in the elementary school get each grade level, and teachers get their grade level, so they can start introducing it and saying, children, this is what's coming. This is what this, get excited. You're going to get these books in the mail. So that is how we work with that the schools get the books, the teachers get them ahead of time so they can get the children excited, and then the children get them home delivery, much like the Imagination Library.
Question? Is it free to the schools?
Yes, I should have mentioned that. It is absolutely free, thanks to our legislators that have paid, the state legislators. We have funding to pay for these books, so it is absolutely free.
I can answer that question. This is I've learned to give this answer from Dean. Sometimes it's a matter of what their leadership is comfortable with our data sharing agreement. And sometimes it is a matter of control. All of the book titles are sent out prior to children receiving them. So it's no secret what they're going to get. But sometimes districts may like to keep things closer in and make all the decisions themselves, and sometimes it's our data sharing agreement. But we are willing to work with anybody. I think we have, 2 districts that there are edited data sharing agreements that we've worked with them to make it happen. But just so you know, Hamilton's good. Yeah.
You had a question as well?
Not so much of a question, just a funny, you have answered a question that I did not realize you guys were the answer to, which is why I have parents coming into the library going, who is sending me?
Yes.
And that's why we're doing this.
Yeah. That is exactly why we're doing this.
Because they were like, is this you all? Yeah. They're too old for Imagination Library now. Someone's sending us books in the mail.
Santa Claus.
We are trying to, normalize is not the right word, but we're trying to familiarize everyone with Booker the Owl. The students, the teachers, the caregivers, that Booker is Guelph's mascot. And so when Booker, the packages come in kind of a cold seal, like an envelope, and it's got Booker on it. I mean, there's Booker. So our hope is that the students have seen Booker at school, and then Booker's at home, and the few schools that we do some other things in, they see Booker there, that hopefully brand awareness. We are trying to answer that question with the children being, oh, that's Booker. Booker's sending me these books. The other piece that I left out is this is available to all public school children, including charter schools. And charter schools is where we really fall short. So if any of you have any connections with charter schools, we would love to have those connections, get those names. So if you want to email any of us, any connections to charter schools, because that is difficult. And oftentimes I think it is because they have a small staff and you really got one person that's trying to wear 3 or 4 different hats, and them uploading or doing the opt-out process with the parents and then working through that data and then uploading the data for us. It's just 2 steps too much for them, and they pass on the free books. And it really breaks our hearts to think about these students that don't get the books delivered to them. Yes?
Felicia can help answer this too, but here's the process. They go out end of May, 1st of June. If it's undeliverable, it goes back to Scholastic, and then they wait a couple of months until they've all gone back, and then they're reshipped to the school where that child the information came from. It goes to the school. If that child still goes to that school, they will deliver the book pack to that child. If that child no longer goes to that school, they can choose to give it to a new student, put it in a classroom library, give it to somebody who may have lost theirs. They can choose, they can use their best interest, their best judgment of what to do with it at that point. So it's very different from Imagination Library in that way.
The other way they do is if they have an inter-library system within the schools and they know where the child is, they in-house ship that book out to that student. Wow.
But this summer we have a 98% delivery rate. So
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, that's way beyond what we do. There are a lot of other people that it goes through. The vocabulary word that was new to me is scrubbing. The data is scrubbed. So it's cleaned up from Guelph, and then it's cleaned up, scrubbed on the scholastic level as well.
And it's scrubbed by one staff member at Guelph. No one else at Guelph sees this data. So if you have a county that you're close to that's not participating because of a data sharing problem, just let them know there's one data person secure in our organization that looks at the data. Then it's sent to a secure link to Scholastic where they begin to do the shipping label. So no one is looking at this data except this one data person that's cleaning it up.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
No.
She's just like magic that she knows this stuff. This is Angel Bebow. She is our Chief Financial Officer. And then Meredith Hillary just came in the room. She's our Director of Programs. And Felicia, do you want to tell them your role with Guelph and Scholastic? Is that what it is? She's our
So I am the senior account executive
Senior
for
account.
Scholastic. I handle West Tennessee, which is everything from Memphis to Parksville, coming down past Davidson County, I can do Williamson County, all the way down to Lawrence County on the Alabama border, plus Yoke. So I handle about 39 counties. My partner in crime, Heather Smith, handles everything from Davidson County all the way to Mountain City. She lives in Cookville, I live in Memphis. So we are the Scholastic contacts for the state.
Incredible teammates. Yes.
And this is going through public and charter schools. So homeschool or not right now? Okay.
It has come up. We've had that conversation. We're trying our best. Yes. Any other questions? Yeah.
So how do you think the librarians, not the librarians, the teachers that go into the, educators?
Yeah.
Are we welcoming librarians into that?
Librarians,
Teachers are a little
yes.
institutional, we like more fun.
Yeah. There's a wide,
So the Education Advisory Committee, they do elect or choose new members. There is a application that went out, I think back early spring. And Meredith may be able to answer how that was disseminated to the schools, where you nominated yourself for a position on the Educator Advisory Council. I believe it's a 3-year term that you serve. So these educators stay for 3 years and then they roll off. So every year there are new teachers coming on. And yes, there are, this year I know principals actually wanted to be a part of it, librarians, reading coaches, literacy specialists, first grade teachers, kindergarten teachers, anyone across the spectrum that is involved in the education process it is open to them. And Meredith, how did that?
Our K-3 contacts in all 141
Right.
school districts and our 60-plus charter schools get a communication, whether it's updates on the toolkit to do the data submission for K-3 home library, to applications for things like being a new member of the EAC, submitting a child for our 10 under 10 program. Anything we do push it out on a variety of, we have, I think it went out to 3,000 contacts across the state at each time we have updated on a statewide program. So it also is posted usually towards the bottom of the select newsletter, Health Talks, when we open up an application for something or when we have a toolkit to share. So I encourage you to, I'll keep putting content in the Health Talks, but if you want to be identified as a K-3 contact and get K-3 programming updates, we can do that too.
Yeah, it's mostly because I don't think the public librarians are getting that information.
The public
So
library.
we could be a really big partner
I should have made it that more clear. It's the school librarians that are No. This is all through the schools, public and charter schools. So it's the public and charter school librarians that receive the PACs and that would have received notice about becoming a member of the Educator Advisory Committee. Oh. But to promote the program, to let people know these books are in your home.
So everybody in here will start getting, if you don't already, Select's Tell Talks newsletter. If you don't, let us know and we'll make sure that you do. But because you're here, you're going to be in our system to get the newsletters from us. And any of your friends that you think we should be connected with, feel free to connect us.
Yeah, so we just brainstormed this morning at our table, Casey and I did, Williamson County Library, weekly library, who were all here, and I were talking about the next layer is community partners such as librarians, also understanding what books are going to 260,000 school children in Tennessee, so that we could piggyback off of promoting those resources.
Yeah. At the end, there's a slide with all of our emails as well, so you're always welcome to email us if you have additional questions or you're not getting the Tell emails after this weekend or this week. We can do that too. The last part of our home library programs is our caregiver connections. Last but not least, because we are blessed by the two human beings that we get to work with Parent Powered. They're formerly known as Ready for K, but we partner with Parent Powered through an appropriation of the state to provide weekly learning tips that are texted directly to caregivers across the state. So again, we partner with the school districts, and Parent Powered is the genius behind all of the text that go out. They are the more information about what I'm talking about is on that flyer in the middle of your tables. So if you want to kind of follow along with more information as well on home library or caregiver connections, that's what we're talking about. But Parent-powered formats are fact tip growth texts that go out on a weekly basis. And so those are essentially facts about early literacy to parents that we can help inform things that are going on and things that they should know about early literacy in their home. Tips of how they can engage with their child out in the wilderness. This one says, after you and your child read a book, the kind of questions that you can ask, just things that if you were not raised in a home that had a lot of books or with a caregiver that could spend that time one-on-one with you, these are just great informational tips to help engage those caregivers with their child while they're reading. And then a growth is a way to kind of stretch their thinking and their child's thinking so that they can engage a little further with those books. What's really awesome is that Parent Powered has connected with the books that we're sending in the summer for our K-3 home library program. So a lot, if not all of them, actually connect with all of the books that are already being sent in the homes. And the parents enroll with their child's grade level. So the books that are in their home for second grade or a rising second grader is the text that will get sent directly to their phone that involve those books as well. Wheezy Fran, can I add anything else?
If anyone has any questions, we're happy to answer them. Just find us going around. If you'd like to sign up, you can just scan it.
Yeah, you can get them if you'd like.
If you don't have a child, just make it work.
This is also a partnership with the school districts, and caregivers can decide to stop if they choose, but it has a very high rate of keeping it. What's it called?
Persistence rate, yep.
Persistence rate. Okay. All right, book buses. This is several years old now, so we have lots of book buses on the road. And what Governor's Early Literacy Foundation does is once a year we have a grant process that community partners, school districts, libraries can apply for a book bus grant. Our typical gift has not increased with the cost of everything. Our typical gift is still about $10,000 to $15,000 per bus, knowing you will need other partners to make that happen. The handbook, yeah, you can show some pictures. The handbook for our book bus process is on our website, along with some tips on submitting a quality application. Typically, this grant process opens in early spring, and then gifts are awarded May-ish. We've played with that a little bit, but that is the typical timeline for our book bus grant. Very quick overview. Does anybody have any questions about book buses? It's both, and that's up to the partner. Her question was, are the books given to the children or are they checked out? I would say 90% of our book buses do book gifting, but there are a couple, Megs, for example, they are kind of a library on wheels, so they take their bus out to communities where it's hard to get to the library or there is no library, and they do circulation. So it's up to the partner. All right, and if you aren't sure if you have a book bus in your area, just, again, let one of us know and we'll connect you with a bus.
Okay, Storybook Trails, much like book buses, this is a grant process that comes through us. The grant cycle generally opens up around October, and we close it in December and award money in January. Community partners, libraries, schools, all kinds of people do the Storybook Trails. We've had high schools do a Storybook Trail in a park for the little children. Then there are some Storybook Trails at elementary schools, so it's very, it's different. So what Storybook Trails are is you get permission to publish a book, or to publishing rights to print the book, actually. And so the books are printed on pretty big, like 24 by 36 inch panels that are put at child height. And so it follows a trail, and we like for the Storybook Trails to be at least a quarter of a mile long, so there's enough time to kind of walk along and read the book, for caregivers to read the book to children as you go, or children to read it to their caregivers. At the bottom of all of our storybook panels, we do have kind of like reading prompts or engagement prompts, where we want to encourage some sort of physical activity or some kind of thinking and engagement. It may be to fly like a butterfly to the next panel if the book has butterflies in it, or something like that, just something to engage the child between one panel and the next. Oftentimes our youngest readers may not make it the entire trail, and so this also helps engage them. Even if they only get to 2 panels or 3 panels, they have engaged with that. They may not hear the whole story in its entirety, but they have engaged with their parent for the 2 or 3 panels that they made it to. Our typical grant for this process is somewhere between $3,000 and $4,500. It does cost probably more, closer to $5,000 to $7,500 to cover the entire process. There are ways to cut corners. Some people order aluminum stands. They can change them out. They have a new book quarterly. This is on a wooden stand. Some people can make their own stands, and that helps with the cost of it. So just as we say, there's 95 different counties and 95 ways things are done. Storybook Trails are done differently everywhere. But the biggest part of our piece of this is we do help obtain permission. So we have some program partners, or some partners that they have a Storybook Trail in place, but they want to update their book. We may not have helped them with a grant in getting their trail started, but they realized word's gotten out that we can help them with the book process through Penguin, which is through the Imagination Library, or Scholastic. We also request permissions from Scholastic. So that is something that we do that is just a permission only. So there's no financial piece to that, and that can be done at any point during the year, that we can do a permission only grant, that we will request permissions and be able to give our partners the PDFs to send to their printer to go ahead and print a new Storybook Trail. So any questions about that? We also have the grant process that if you've got one that's old, it's 3 or 4 years old, and it's needing a little bit of refurbishing, that you can do a smaller grant, a plot twist grant for a smaller amount of money for some upkeep of your Storybook Trail.
I usually try to tell people that Governor's Early Literacy Foundation, if you're not aware, we are a public-private foundation. So we talked about Imagination Library and K3 being state dollars. Book buses and storybook trails are funded by private dollars. I always think that's important to say too, that we have a team that's out raising money and getting funds. So often you might see some of these buses or trails that have a logo on them from Delta Dental or Verizon or Dollar General Foundation. So those are our private partners that are helping to fund some of these other projects.
Question?
So when I first moved here, we were taking a walk and I stumbled upon the Storybook Trail. I kept saying, this was a brilliant idea. Because I, as an adult, couldn't wait to get to the next part of the story. But I didn't know it was you all, but I just kept saying it was a brilliant idea.
It may not have been, like there are many out there that aren't us.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't take full credit for that at all.
You all have never experienced it. I look forward to the next one.
Well, good.
That is the goal. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, and so the other piece to this is the select bucket, and we are all here at the select convening. So we will just briefly, select actually stands for, and I have to write this down and read it because I get confused. Statewide Early Literacy Education Collaborative of Tennessee. So, basically, working together to break down the silos, build connections, and increase visibility and awareness of early literacy efforts across Tennessee is the mission. So as select members, we meet here every year convening statewide, but there are regional convenings throughout the year, in the fall and in the spring. So hopefully you will be able to join in on a smaller convening that may be more connected to your areas and what specifically is going on and connecting with those that are in your area. And it may be bringing an idea from East Tennessee that now that we're convening in Memphis this fall, that we're going to bring an idea from East Tennessee to Memphis and talk about it there and try to share our knowledge and not be working in silos. The other piece of that is there is a advisory committee for Select, and if that's something you're interested in being more involved with some of the planning and that kind of thing, you can let Katie know, because she would love some extra help. And as you all know, that all of this did not come about just, there's a lot of work that advisory committee put in as to the programming and things like that for Select.
Katie did want me to plug that at the end of today, when you walk out with all of your thank you gifts, there's a survey that we would love your participation in regards to our 2025 Select convening. So please tell us your opinions. We always vow to get better every year. So please let us know how you felt, if you liked the food, if you thought it was too long, if we didn't give enough breaks, or if it was incredible and you'd like Mac Barnett to come back next year. So please let us know your opinions and your reviews on our Select 2025 convening as well.
Yeah, we're doing well. Okay, so now this looks a little bit different than it did previously. The timeline we showed you at the beginning didn't have any information on it in the black text, and you clearly can't read that, but now you know how we started with Imagination Library, you know about book buses, you know about storybook trails, and you know about Select K3 caregiver engagement. All right, so up at the top, there are a few other programs that we call special projects. So these may not be across every county in the state. Maybe they are, not all of them, but maybe some of them are. But they're special projects. And Alexis Wade is our special projects manager. You've probably seen her in the past 2 days as well. 10 Under 10 was referenced by James in the video. And that's where one of those numbers is already new. We've had 30 10 Under 10 winners, so we've had 3 years of 10 Under 10, and these are third graders who have done some incredible work and growth in their reading across the state. They're nominated by their teachers, and that goes out very similar to the newsletters that Meredith was talking about. It goes to all of our contacts that we have for K-3, and teachers, principals, reading coaches can nominate children to be a 10 under 10 winner. They get a scholarship that they can use when they go to college at 18, and they get to get dressed up and come to Nashville and come to a fancy dinner and be recognized at our Literacy Alliance dinner. OWLFest, you guys are familiar with Booker now. He's our OWL, and OWL here stands for Opportunities with Literacy, and this is a partnership that comes not only with Scholastic, obviously, but the funding comes from TDOE, from the Department of Education. And that's always, it could be one bucket one year and another bucket another year, but it's TDOE. And this is to serve some of our lowest performing schools across the state. And while it might be called a book shopping experience, it is not shopping with money. The books are at no cost to the children. You saw some pictures in the video, and this typically happens. It's going to be in its third year now in September, and every child that gets to participate gets to choose 6 free books. So we haven't chosen them for them, except for the wonderful collection, very strategically given to them, but they get to choose 6 free books to take home, and it is a lot of fun. And then Libertad is a pilot program that is in Loudoun, Lenoir City, Hamlin, and Knox right now, privately funded.